Welcome to Quiet Enough to Ride, part of the Beyond the Chutes podcast. I'm Doug Simcox, joined by my partner Sam Swearingen. In this series, we dive into the rodeo mindset, exploring the mental toughness, focus, and resilience it takes to succeed. Whether it's in rodeo, racing, or wrestling, the 3 R's, the lessons we uncover here are just as important in life as they are in competition. This is episode 6. The 5 levels of learning, motivation, and belief. Today, we'll be diving into what it takes to truly master a skill, from building a solid foundation of understanding to reaching the highest levels of instinctive performance. We'll explore the role of motivation in driving us forward and how belief, both in ourselves and our process, is the cornerstone of achieving success. We'll see how these principles apply not only to rodeo, but to every aspect of life, proving once again that we rodeo as we live. Let's get started. This is Quiet Enough to Ride. And we're going to do something we haven't done before. Number one, we've never done a podcast series before. And it's on a subject near and dear to our heart, Sam. 3 R's. What are the 3 R's again?
Rodeo, racing,
Wrestling. Okay. And of course, the series is called Quiet Enough to Ride. And quite frankly, it's morphing into what we're going to call rodeo mindfulness. So we're going to do what we haven't done before, is we're going to drop this whole series. Before we get started, Sam, who are we going to dedicate this podcast series to?
Teachers, coaches, and mentors.
And we just did a really cool episode, Sam. You and I did when I was out at Rawhide Ranch, recording Studio North. Marv Schimmel, let me make sure I got this right. New York Section 5 Hall of Fame wrestling coach. He came in and we talked wrestling and with an eye towards rodeo. First off, he was your coach in high school. Give us your thoughts on that podcast, that episode, that conversation. What stood out for you?
Well, how much dedication it took to do what he did.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of kids, and you're trying to mold them into something you want, and it's a lot of work. It doesn't always work out for you, but he did a good job. Good job of trying to get us to be our best. It turned out we got a real good team by the end of my 4 years of high school.
And today we're gonna dedicate this particular podcast to Marv Schimmel, okay, the wrestling coach. I just sit there and I look at how young he was when he came in, how green the crew was, you got to admit. And that was back in the day, Sam, when you didn't wrestle year-round. You only wrestled during wrestling season.
Correct.
Okay. Did you ever go to a camp? Did you ever go do that during the summer?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Michelle.
And now I told you about my nephew once removed, my nephew's son, Jack, who is 5 years old and was just in his first wrestling match. And just so you know, he was one of the older ones kids are starting out there at 3 years of age, Sam.
Yeah. I took my 2 grandsons to some practices last year. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year. And they had fun.
You bet.
They don't know much, but you got to have fun at what you do. So that's okay.
You better have fun, and no better way to transition to what we're going to talk about today. You better have fun, because the sport of rodeo is tough. The sport of rodeo, you better be a learner. We talked about the learner mindset the last time we got together. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about, and I think of Marv Schimmel, your wrestling coach, when I lay this out there, we're going to explore the 5 levels of learning that we all go through. We're going to talk a little bit about the role of motivation and belief. He was big on that. And we're going to share some tips to help you stay inspired and focused. So before we do that, you've heard me talk about Sam about I can give you an idea, but until you do something, it's not learning. You really haven't learned. You've learned, but you really haven't learned. We believe until you put the skill into motion. When you get into that, go experiment, go get your feedback, go take a look at what you did. And a partner of mine, business partner of mine, Dan, VP of operations at the company I retired from, he went to a training. He was with a trucking company and went to a training to become a trainer. So he's really there to kind of observe how the training goes. And he was a student in this class. And the class was how to climb up a tree and top a tree with a chainsaw. So he had a manual and he went through it, and pictures of how to put the spikes or whatever, the hooks or whatever they are on the inside of your legs, down by your feet, how to use your safety. And I'm probably saying all the wrong things, but the strap that goes around the tree as you climb, how to carry your chainsaw, how to anchor yourself off, all that stuff. And he's like, yep, cool. And at one point the teacher says, okay, put your books down. We're going outside. And he's like, what? He goes, yeah, we're going outside. You're going to climb a tree and you're going to top it. And he said, oh my goodness, I think I should have paid attention. So back to, it ain't real till you strap on the spikes. Okay? I just thought,
Or the spurs.
Or the spurs. I almost said that too. Or you're running your hand in the bull rope in the buck and shoot. It gets real fast. So we want to talk a little bit about the 5 levels of learning. Most people talk about there's 4 levels of learning, and I've heard this from the racetrack. You're going to recognize this, Sam, from the wrestling room, and definitely it's going to apply to rodeo. And we're going to give some examples of how it applies to rodeo. We're actually going to talk about a 5th level that Toyota teaches. Okay, they actually say there's 5 levels. And for those folks out there, I work for a Toyota-owned company, was associated with Toyota for about 25 years and had an opportunity to do a lot of study, first at the University of Michigan and then at the University of Kentucky here around the Toyota production system. So a lot of my examples and a lot of the formation of some of my thinking comes from the Toyota way, which, by the way, is super people-based. The people do the work. Here, the people do the learning. The people do the teaching. So 5 levels of learning. Let's jump into it. So when it comes to mastering a new skill in rodeo or anything else, a wrestling move, a braking technique on the racetrack, learning how to put your bow rope on, we all go through 5 stages of learning. And understanding these stages can help us as students of something new stay patient and motivated as you progress. Okay, as you progress. The first one, Sam, is what they call unconscious incompetence. Okay, say that after me. Unconscious incompetence.
Unconscious incompetence?
Yeah. So
okay.
Not only am I unconscious, I'm incompetent. I love it. and another way of saying that is this is the I don't know what I don't know stage. Okay? You're unaware of your lack of skill or knowledge. Okay? For example, in the rodeo arena, and you can probably come up with a bunch of your examples, Sam. A new barrel racer might not realize how crucial approach angles are to faster times. They don't know what they don't know. Okay? When we're in that stage, I might have an idea. You might be sharing something, but I don't even know what to ask you, Sam. And as we've talked in earlier episodes, to me, the most complex rodeo event there is calf roping, tie down roping. That's always, to me, to be this bundle of technical expertise, this whole 50 different things you better know how to do. And at this point, I've seen it, I've watched it, I've certainly talked about it, but I'm fairly unconscious in my competency. I am unconscious. I have unconscious incompetence. Is that, am I thinking about tie down roping in the right way? It just seems to me to be super complex.
Oh, they're all very complex, but that has a lot of moving parts to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every part puts the other one in position.
Okay. Okay.
Getting out of the barrier good first, roping the calf, don't rope them deep, just roping the calf doesn't make it a fast run.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things. So there's a lot of steps. And if one of them messes up in there, it really, really hurts you.
Oh, for sure. And I got to imagine, if you're my coach or my mentor, my teacher in calf roping, I'm guessing you don't put me on a horse for a while, right? If I know nothing about calf roping, I'm assuming you're going to show me how to build a loop, how to spin a loop, how to not have it all get coiled up and messed up.
Yeah. It's interesting, but somebody that doesn't have a clue how to swing a rope starts.
Yeah.
It is really, it's hard to teach somebody that doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right off the hop.
Yeah. And then how do I throw it? When do I let go of the rest of my, my loops?
Yeah.
How do I even throw it? How do I get to where I can catch what I'm aiming at? I mean, to me, completely unconscious incompetence. Okay? I don't know what I don't know. All right. So a tip in this state, Doug, you would say, I need you to be a learner. I need you to have the learner mindset. I need you to stay curious. I need you to ask questions, and I need you to be open to the feedback I'm going to give you. Okay? Because we need to use that feedback to uncover what you need to learn. And you might look at me going, oh my goodness, we got to teach him, before we teach him how to build a loop, we got to teach him how to take the rope properly out of the can. No assumptions here. It's like I had unconscious incompetence in riding the pleasure horse because I didn't know about the leads. Okay? I didn't know what I didn't know. Does that make sense?
Sure does. Sure does. You can't do things if you don't know.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And to the teachers out there, to the parents out there, don't assume that your kid knows what a lead is. Don't assume. Ask some questions. Ask the right questions and give the right responses. Don't shake your head and walk away because I don't know what a lead is. That ain't going to help me a bit. Me being 8 years old or whatever. Number two level, conscious incompetence. Conscious incompetence. At this stage, I recognize, I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know how to build a loop. Awareness sits in, and I simply realize at that point there's work to do. You as my coach, Sam, you say, we got some work to do. But until I get to a place where I know that I don't know, what's the motivation? So now the learning mindset has to be open and rolling. So the rodeo example might be a roper notices their loop isn't consistent and begins working on their release timing. I am aware that I can't do it properly at this point. So the practice might be watch videos of yourself and your performance, watch videos of the perfect way of doing it. You know, Sam, as we talked this morning, there's ways that teachers and coaches and mentors can instruct somebody to a new job, okay, to a new skill. And a lot of times I show you and I go, here, now you do it, okay? Or I walk away. Or I tell you how to do it and I walk away. And Toyota teaches the way that you do it is you show the student, you tell the student, you show them and tell them. And one of the tells is the why they're doing the step that they're going to be doing. So now it starts to get anchored in my brain. Oh, now I know if I build the loop this way, if I build it the way he's saying, it's going to stay flat, or whatever the case may be, Sam. See, I don't know what I don't know. But so the way that we do it, Toyota way, as my coach, you're going to say, let me show you. Now let me show you and tell you. Let me show you and tell you. Now, Doug, take the rope, and I want you to show me, and I want you to tell me. And just going a little bit deeper, it may be major steps. It may be, hey, the first thing you do is put it in your right hand. The second thing you do, and you could tell me better on that subject. And then here's the reason why you do that. Maybe it saves a finger, right? Maybe it doesn't burn a finger. I don't know. So, but if you can anchor, give me as a student what they call major steps. Major step number 1, put the loops in your left hand. The coils in, Sam, what would it be? Coils in your left hand, loop in your right hand?
If you're a right-handed roper.
Okay.
Left-handed, it's the other way around.
Okay. And then how would I go from there to build? What's the next step to build the loop?
Well, you would take the loop out
Mm-hmm.
and probably flip it around, get it a little bigger, and flip it, get a little bigger.
Okay. So major step number 1, put the coils in your left hand, the loop in your right hand. Major step number 2, flip it. That's all you got to remember.
To take that kink out of the coil.
Yep. And the key reason is to take the kink out of the coil. And I go, oh.
Right.
Now I've connected not only what you've told me, but now I know the reason why. And that's something that as teachers, Sam, and coaches and learners, we aren't telling the why, and as learners, we aren't asking the why. Why does that even matter? Oh, because if you do it the other way, you're going to lose a finger, whatever it may be. And we probably should move off tie-down rope and to something like bronc ride. And we apologize to all the tie-down ropers that are on here for you guys suffering as we're doing this. But I think we're making the point that I absolutely don't know what I don't know. Okay? I think we're making that point. So level number 2, we're conscious. We know, I know that I don't know. And you watch videos of your performance, other performance, you analyze mistakes, and you seek guidance. You ask for help. Ask for help. Raise your hand. Ask for help from coaches or mentors. Okay. Number 3, conscious competence. Here you've developed the skill, Sam. I've developed the skill, but I still need to really focus on it to do it. I know how to do it, but I have to concentrate. Okay? An example, a bull rider has learned how to stay square on the bull, but he needs to focus on every ride to maintain that position. He has to focus on it. And the tip here is, Sam, practice deliberately, practice perfect, focus on one aspect of your performance at a time, and stay mindful, which means stay present, be aware, stay focused on the task at hand, and stay relaxed as you do it. Practice your breathing while you're doing it. And then we get into, Sam, where the level you absolutely hit, which is unconscious competence. Unconscious competence. This is a sweet spot. I can do it with ease. It's a habit. Your skills are automatic, and you trust your body to perform. Okay? So a seasoned roper lands their loop effortlessly without overthinking it. That Sam marks out the horse, beats the horse to the ground every single time, lifts with the buck rein up across his body, stays centered, stays in his saddle, fast feet, jumps off on the pickup man. He does it without thought. It's just what I do. Does that make sense, Sam?
Sure does. Sure does.
And here, when we hit this, you let go of overthinking. I'm going to say you let go of thinking at that point. You clear your mind. You rehearse your mind with visualization, and you trust your ability. You trust your training. You trust the habit, the muscle memory that you have built. And you stay present. You stay in the moment. Rodeo mindfulness, and you let your instincts guide you. Okay? Horse ducks to the left, your body knows what to do. It's already been there. It's already done that. Ditto to the right. It's already been there. And the instincts go, this is what I need to do to respond here. This is what I need to do. And that's that difference between reacting and responding. Your body makes a conscious, it's unconscious, but it makes a very specific choice and a decision to do that thing in that 1/10 of a second that it took to respond. Okay. The next level, the final level. This is a level I've only ever heard from Toyota. The conscious, unconscious, the conscious, unconscious competence. Let me say it again. Conscious, unconscious competence. Okay? There's a lot there. Let me say it this way. This is the final stage is mastery. So that level 4 is on a gradation. I can do it with ease. It is a habit, but that could be on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being I've done all the ducks and dives. I've done it in the rain. I've done it on a horse that rears out. I've done it on all these combinations of things, and I have arrived at mastery level on this. Okay? So the top end of that unconscious competence, that level 4, most people will stop there. As a matter of fact, per Toyota, 90% of the people will stop there. And that's good. That's okay. That's a wonderful place to be. But the next level, the conscious, unconscious competence, is where you combine that mastery with teaching. And the statement is, I can do it with ease, right? That's what you had before. Level 4, I can do it with ease, and I can teach others. Not everybody that's hit that unconscious competence, Michael Jordan, not everyone that hits that can go on and be a teacher or be a coach from there. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Okay. And the rodeo example, you can come up with a bunch of them, right? You and your brother started a rodeo school. You had hit the high level 4. Now, and this is the challenge, and this is, people think this is just the next step and the next evolution. I'm going to tell you, for me personally, and I'm going to let you share. When you had to go from doing, Sam, think back to when you were putting together your rodeo schools that you did for years with your brother Mike in Attica, New York. when you did that, what was the transition that you had to go from, I can do it with ease, it's a habit, to, I got to show somebody, I got to tell somebody so I can teach them? What was that step like?
Well, teaching it's a whole different ballgame.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen.
Yeah.
And you have to get your point across, no matter whatever it is. You know, you might even have to be inventive to get your point across.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I really, every time I did a school, I went back to the basics and really thought of stuff. It helped me every time I did a school where I learned something myself.
Okay. I was going to ask that. Yes.
Yeah. But it is at a different level of understanding, I guess, because here you got all kinds of kids that know what they're doing, just wanted to tune up, kids that think they know what they're doing and they don't know anything, and kids that don't know anything and are willing to learn.
Yeah. That, and I was in the same place, Sam. I did a lot of training, right? I was a trainer, front of the room trainer in corporate, a lot of different subjects. And I had to learn the subject well enough that I could do it to where it's a habit. But then for me, it was a whole nother step to go, okay, I've done it. And I don't think it's hard to teach something you haven't done, because there's a difference about talking about something versus talking about from something, from the experience of doing it. Okay.
I agree completely, because you can read something from a book and it can tell you exactly how to do it, but then do it. It's a whole new experience, kind of like putting an airplane together. You got step-by-step instructions.
Yes.
And I've seen 3 different books and the instructions and everything you do, but you might still put the wrong rivets in.
You might. I've heard stories.
Yeah. It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen.
Probably not, but it could happen.
Oh, I'm saying it's a high probability. Yeah. It could happen. Yeah.
Okay. But now, next time, you know kind of what rivets go where and why.
You bet. No, you're exactly right. And to be able to take that and be able to put that into words and be able to your point, Toyota says one of the most revered positions inside of Toyota is a teacher, is a trainer. Okay? Toyota says 10% of the people that can do the job can be teachers typically. So you're always looking for that 10% that want to become teachers. And it's I think I said this, one of the most highly revered positions inside of Toyota. And the other thing that Toyota taught us was, if the student hasn't learned, the teacher hasn't taught. And the teacher's job is to teach. And I love your example. You got young people, you got old people. I was there. I was fairly old for the sport when I first met you in 1990. I don't know, I was probably 22 or 23 already, Sam, at that point. I forget. But you got people that might tell jokes like that in the middle of your class. You got to adapt, right? And not everything gets across the same way, right? So if we can get back to focusing on showing them, telling them, then telling us, and them then showing us and telling us, that's the ultimate approach per Toyota. I can remember the first time I attended, Sam. First time I ever put a saddle on. First time I ever put a halter on a buck horse with a buck rein. Okay. First time I ever measured where to put this, based on the stirrup length to where I put it on the horse, right? Where I set it on the horse. I mean, use your stirrups to measure that. How to measure a bronc rein. Had never done any of that. And you taught the basics. I remember to this day the basics, right? Lift, tuck, beat him to the ground, right? Lift, tuck, mark him out, beat him to the ground. Jump after jump. It's just a repeatable process at that point. And I can remember asking you, well, how do you lift? And you showed me how to lift. And you came back the next day and clearly had thought about it and said, let me fine tune what I just told you. Yes, you lift, but you lift up across your body because that's going to keep you square in the saddle. And that little finesse, you had built your teaching, you had built your explanation with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it'll hold you down in the saddle and keep you square.
Yep. And you probably had never really thought about that to the point of it made you a better rider based on what you learned. And that's because as we teach, we learn. Okay, we've talked about that earlier on the podcast. So lots of examples there. So as a teacher, sharing your knowledge strengthens your own mastery. And quite frankly, like we're doing this podcast, it contributes to the rodeo community, we hope. And by us sharing it and by us putting this out there, Sam, you and I have learned things in the first 5 podcasts that we probably hadn't put together before, or at least hadn't put together in the way that our thinking is evolved. That's the point. And another point is it never ends. Learning never ends. Any final thoughts on the 5 levels of learning? Conscious, unconscious, competence. Level 5.
Well, the thing that really stands out to me is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could use that in life scenario, in everything you do.
Yep. Yep.
You don't know how to tie your shoes. You don't know how. You don't know how to be a better husband. If you never seen that growing up, you don't know how.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Till you get out in the real world and learn.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah. And a great point. And we talk about rodeo mindfulness, but mindfulness is life, right? It's whether you're learning under the context of rodeo, we've already said you rodeo as you live. All this stuff is meant to go out into the world with you, whatever your next adventure is after rodeo even, right? And to all the things you just talked about, spot on. So we're going to shift gears here just a little bit. We're going to go to motivation and the power of belief, okay? And still within the context of learning, Sam, still within the context of learning. We know before anyone adopts a program of change in their life, and we're throwing out some things that could make a difference, that could change, right? How they see things, how they react or respond in moments, how they perform. Before anyone adopts a program of change, 2 things must be in place. First off, you need to know what you're doing and why it works. Now, a teacher's going to tell you, hopefully, what to do in a way that you know what it is expected, that you know what you're doing. And hopefully, a teacher's going to tell you why it works. But all of this stuff, Sam, is experiential, which means go try it on. You learn through experience. You learn through doing. You learn through motion. So it's up to you to say, whoa, when I do this, this occurs. That's a good thing. And that's how you begin to build that muscle. But you need to know what you're doing and why what you're doing and why it works. Second, you got to believe it's belief. You must believe that the effort will lead you to the results you want. Okay? So let me say that again. You must believe that the effort that you're putting into the program, that you're putting into the practice, that you're putting into this change motion, whatever that is, will lead to the results that you want. And here's Sam. I got to ask the why question in maybe a bit of a different way. Why are you doing this program and that you're undertaking, whatever that is, and what result? Do you know what you want? What result do you want? You must believe that the effort that you're undertaking will lead to the results that you as the student want, as you as the learner want. This up the other night. Henry Ford said it with regard to belief. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Your belief governs what's possible. If you believe in your ability to improve, you'll put in the effort to make it happen. If you argue for your limitations, you'll keep them.
Lord knows we argue for our limitations.
Sometimes we
That
do.
way, that way we don't look bad,
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's not the right thing to do.
That's right. So in every new learning experience, you have setbacks, right? We talked about focus and we talked about resilience. We talked about determination. When you're learning something new, you're going to face challenges. I mean, listen to me talk about tie down calf roping and trying to build a loop. I've already got setbacks and I haven't even picked up a rope. So you would say to me as a teacher, Doug, as a student, you're just learning this. Don't see these setbacks as failures. Instead, view them as feedback to improve, feedback to learn. You've heard it said, we learn as much from our failures as we do from our successes. And maybe we learn as much, if not more from our failures as we do our successes. Any thoughts on that?
So true. So true. Hopefully we don't keep doing it over again. The failures.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And it could be just little steps, little thing that could take a failure to success.
Yep.
Just the most minute little detail.
You bet. And you as my teacher may walk up and say, hold on a second. What if you hold the rope this way instead of this way? And that quarter of a turn or that eighth of a turn of my wrist may make all the difference in the world. And all of a sudden, I've got success. But here, if you're dissatisfied with your progress, this takes maturity, Sam. We're not assigning blame, shame, or guilt to ourselves. In other words, I'm not going to blame my teacher. I'm not going to say I'm not bright enough to do this. I'm not competent to do this. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be ashamed of what I do. And I'm not going to feel guilty for not moving quicker. We all move at the pace that we're supposed to move. So we simply choose again and we try something different. We adjust our approach. Learning is a process, not a destination. It's like your journey you're on, Sam. You left upstate New York. You're on your way to Sulphur Springs, to Texas, hopefully to Texas. And if you can't enjoy the journey, are you going to enjoy the destination? Because the journey's a large part of it. Okay? A little something to throw out there. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn, and every success, celebrate it. Every success is a step forward. So let's put it together in the rodeo arena. Learn to rope faster. A roper notices They're losing time on their release. At first, they struggle to improve, but by analyzing video footage, practicing consistently, visualizing, they refine their timing. Each session builds confidence and brings them closer to mastery. Okay? So, mindful practices, remember, quiet enough to ride is becoming rodeo mindfulness. So mindful practices for learning. Yes, mindful practices for everything we do. Here's some tips to help you progress through those 4 levels of learning for sure. Number 1, visualize success. Remember the Maxwell malts, the psychocybernetics, and the importance of visualizing. And remember to do it vividly. Picture yourself performing this skill flawlessly. Period. Your body can't tell the difference between the mental rehearsal, the pure visualization, and the physical doing. The mind can't tell the difference. You don't feel it in your hand, visualize it. Visualize it. Look down at your hand and visualize how you're holding the rope. Engage all of your senses. See, feel, hear, smell, and do all that for the moment, to the moment of success. And as we said, Sam, visualize the small wins. Progress often comes in small steps. We're going to learn about baby steps here in a few episodes. Celebrate shaving off that half of a second, that 1/100th of a second, whatever it is. Celebrate nailing a clean run or making one improvement during practice. What did you do right is what Tom Carney asks. What did you do right? Celebrate it. Celebrate it. And if all that is, Sam, I put the rope can on the right orientation so when I open the lid, the rope didn't fall out. Okay? We're going to celebrate that. I may have to get a rope and a roping can, and I'm probably a year or 2 away from a roping dummy just yet, but I may have to go through the learning process. So number 3, ask for feedback. Ask for feedback, which is another way of saying raise your hand and ask for help. Don't struggle. Ask for help. Seek input from coaches, mentors, or peers, teachers. Honest feedback helps you see those blind spots, that stuff I don't know about me, that stuff I can't see about what I'm doing. I'm blind to that, and then make adjustments. Number 4, reflect without judgment. And judgment means judging yourself. Now, do reflect with discernment. Be able to identify and ask your question after a run or a ride, what went well? And then, what can I improve? And what will I focus on next time? And this is in the practice pen. This is in after a competition. What went well? What can I improve? What will I focus on next time? And finally, stay committed. Determination. When progress feels slow, remind yourself that learning is a process. Trust in your ability to improve over time. Sam, and I'm chuckling because I need you as my teacher of learning how to get the rope out of the can and build a loop, that you need to be patient. Okay? You know.
We both might get hungry.
Yeah, we both might. So just real quickly to the mindful practices, visualize success, celebrate small wins, and I can't underline that, put that in bold, color it red, color it yellow, color it green, celebrate small wins, ask for feedback, another way of asking for help, and reflect without judgment. Do not judge yourself. Be fair, be kind, be patient, and ascertain what needs to improve, but don't judge yourself. The minute we judge ourselves, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Finally, stay committed. Remember the why that you're doing this. Stay committed. So Sam, the 5 levels of learning remind us that growth is a journey. Whether you're starting or mentoring others, motivation, belief, and mindfulness are the keys to success. Remember, be curious about what you don't know. Number 2, trust in your ability to learn and grow. Number 3, celebrate progress, no matter how small. Number 4, share your knowledge to inspire others. In our next episode, Sam, we're talking about the P word. We're going to be talking about presence. Any final words before we wrap this one up?
No, I don't know. Just remember, folks, we're laughing with you, not at you.
That's right. Well, I'm definitely laughing at myself here. Why would I pick calf roping, to try to rodeo example? I'm really, really uninformed there. But it's good to know that I have unconscious incompetence. I don't know what I don't know. And I'm sticking with that story, Sam.
And you're open-minded enough to do it.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Chutes. Until next time, stay motivated, stay mindful, and we'll see you down the trail. Hey, remember, we got BTC Facebook page. We've given out a couple assignments, Sam. One was do the wall sit, right? We're looking for your feedback. The other one was what happens when you get focused and you focus on, I wonder what my next thought's going to be. We're talking about awareness of your mind. Until next time, this is
Sam Swearingen
and Doug Simcox. Makes me chuckle every time, Sam. Makes me chuckle every time. Thank you for listening.